They should have the decency to remove themselves from the community. If they refuse to do that, then measures have to be taken to safeguard the community from them. Then comes the practical question that you ask, how can we get food to them? Well, that's actually their problem.
Medical apartheid. And that is where we're headed, folks. The man you just heard from is Noam Chomsky, a very renowned academic who, to be perfectly honest, actually does have some really interesting writings in the area of linguistics. I've actually really enjoyed his research into linguistics. However, one of the things we've definitely learned through this whole COVID crisis in general is that those that are in our society who might be very traditionally intelligent are not always the most moral in how they respond to different circumstances. You know, a lot of these scientists, yes, guess what? They are very intelligent in their fields, no doubt about it. But when they sit there and say, you know what, we're going to allow liquor stores to stay open, but we're going to shut down the churches. Or when they even say they have the authority to shut down a business, period. How's that? This is a big part of why we don't have the whole style of government that Plato talked about. The idea of the philosopher kings, right? The people who would just sit there and dictate how the public should live because they're smarter than the public. Because the reality is that just because someone might be more intelligent in a certain field does not give them the right to impose their views upon other people through force. But that is the style of academics for the most part, especially in today's world. Now, admittedly, I say today's world. The man is like 92, so I mean, he's definitely in yesterday's world. But you look at modern colleges today. Many of them will constantly talk about this idea that, you know, we need government intervention in many aspects of our society constantly to make sure the right outcomes take place. The reality is central planning, of course, never works, and it creates a load of problems. In this, you know, the person asked him, you know, well, how are we going to get food to the people who are segregated from society, who are unvaccinated? And his response was, well, you know, that's their problem. You know, I'm sure Stalin and Mao are just looking up from hell going, that guy's got it. That guy got it. It's funny that starvation seems to always be a very recurring thing in almost every single dictatorship, as well as every single authoritarian nightmare state ever created. The reality is this idea that we're going to sit there and take out, of course, the unvaccinated, who, let's be honest, are the majority of farmers in this country in the first place. So where do you think your food's going to come from? And that's not going to have ramifications going throughout the entire system. It's just complete nonsense. But these people think they know better. They think they know better than everyone else on all subjects because they're geniuses at one. You can be a genius at one subject, and immediately what happens to these people is they become really full of themselves because they're being told, of course, all the time, hey, you're a genius, you're a genius, you're a genius, not realizing they have blind spots. All right? There's many things that I would consider myself very intelligent on. There's many subjects I have researched very thoroughly, and there's other subjects where I got nothing. I got absolutely nothing to contribute because I have not researched them. Just because someone's a genius and something, again, he has a lot of credentials here. All right, a lot, especially in the field of cognitive science. He does have a lot of credentials, but not when it comes to stuff like, let's say, economics. How is all that going to work out? Or, of course, morality at the end of the day. At the end of the day, we have freedoms. We have the freedom to choose for ourselves. And he wants it to compare it to, of course, saying, well, you don't have the freedom to run a red light. The issue here is that running a red light and hitting someone is you taking a direct action. You're taking an action. While not being vaccinated is you not taking an action. You're refraining from taking an action. Saying you can't do something and saying you must do something are two entirely different things. They just are two entirely different things altogether. And this idea that, again, if you were to tell me that the unvaccinated were going around and intentionally just giving the disease to people, like just stabbing them with like a needle or something like that, I don't know. If you were to tell me they were doing that, then I'd say yes, that person should, be put in jail. But these people aren't intentionally just infecting people as they walk by. They're just going about their damn life. You can take precautions yourself. You can take precautions, and it's amazing. These people are so pro-vax, but at the same time, they're very anti-vax, right? They very much constantly keep saying, well, the vaccine doesn't work. The vaccine doesn't work. The vaccine doesn't work. I'm still going to get COVID from you not being vaccinated because my vaccine doesn't work. Your vaccine works probably very well. I say this all the time. I'm a big believer in vaccination. I was not for COVID because that's what my doctor told me based on my medical conditions. That was my choice. And frankly, just me listening to my doctor telling me not to get it. But for the most part, I have every other vaccine you could possibly imagine. I'm very pro-vaccine. And I think COVID vaccine actually is very effective for many, many, many people. With that said, I think it's so effective, I'll put it this way. Because I think it's so effective, I expect people to just make the right decisions on their own. I don't feel the need to force it on people. Because I know it probably works just fine. People will make the right decision in the end. If people are dropping dead left and right for not being vaccinated, eventually people would just start getting vaccinated if that was the case. The reality is of course, I go by a freedom first principle, right? I have a freedom first principle. I want to, of course, allow the people to have the right to do, frankly, wherever they want, so long as they're not directly harming someone. All right? And people say, well, them spreading COVID is directly harming them. You can get vaccinated. You can take precautions. They're not directly doing jack to you. They're going about their day. If you happen to get sick from them, I am sorry. But at this point, you've had how long to get vaccinated yourself? You can take your own precautions. You can do this. I encourage you to. Go talk to your doctor. The reality is, though, many of these scientists, many of these academics, of course, are going through a top-down approach. How can we squash this as fast as possible? How can we get the people to do what we tell them? And medical segregation is already underway. You see it in places like New York. I can no longer go to New York. I can no longer go to places like Seattle. I can no longer go to places like LA. Now, I don't know why I would actually want to go to these places in the first place. Except for the fact that I do like going to boxing matches, and most of them take place in places like the Barclays Center in New York. I can no longer go there and watch that. All right, me and my dad would go to the Barclays Center about once a year for like a little while there, just to go see a boxing match. We can no longer do that because I'm not vaccinated. So there's already medical segregation in place. So how far is it going to be pushed? He's talking about making it so they can't even get food. So they can't even go to the damn grocery store. Now, admittedly, a grocery store is running kind of low on food as it is. But we're really talking about segregating people out from society completely, based on medical decisions they have made, or possibly their doctor has made. Again, I went to a doctor that told me don't get it. He's a medical expert. All right, I'm not going against the science when I choose not to get the vaccine, because I talked to a doctor and I listened to an expert. That was my choice. That's what I decided. You can decide whatever the hell you want to decide at the end of the day. But these people, these elites, always want to sit there and find a way. How can we have a top-down approach to this problem? If you give them an inch, they're going to take a mile. And we've given them that inch. We gave them the authority to shut down our businesses. We gave them the authority to shut down our churches. We gave them the authority to shut down our family gatherings. I mean, don't forget, there was a period there where people were being arrested for having too many people at their house. We gave them that inch, and they're using it to take a mile at this point. Vaccine requirements all through different cities and states. And they're still pushing for more. We cannot give in anymore. We have to stand up and tell them no more of this crap. We will not bend down. We will not take a knee before you. We are our own people. We get to make our own decisions as to what we put in our body. But of course, what do you think? Leave a comment below. Is this, are people actually going to start standing up here soon, or are we kind of pretty much screwed? Are we headed further to medical apartheid, or do you think people are finally standing up? You know, of course, let me know in the comments below, as well as if you like this video, of course, leave a thumbs up. Really does help out a lot. Subscribe to the channel for more, and talking again real soon.